What's up, everyone? You're tuned into the channel EEPS episode 165. And today, I want to be real with you all because I get a lot of questions about, yo, EEPMON, Eric, how do you survive in a volatile world, especially in the creative industry as an artist? How did you do it? What did you do? And how did you survive? Because let's be real here that I think that us creatives, we have the hardest gigs in the game. Okay? We have the hardest gigs in the game. We have to create work from our like it's beyond just a service, right? We're creating out of our own awareness, our spiritual, you know, intuition of how we assess and how we make sense of this world. And someone has to pay for it. People have to like it and will pay money. Money equals energy to acquire your work. It's not easy. It's tough. Now, I want to tell you a bit of a story how I really pursued my path of an artist. And I've been hearing and watching a lot of what's happening with the state of the economy. And yeah, I think the current state of corporate culture, I think it's toxic. I think it's unhealthy. And I this is not new to me because I experienced it a long time ago of just how it just didn't click with me. Okay? I can work with corporations, but I can't work in corporations. So the story was is that I was an up and coming rising star in the web world and the flash. Who remembers Macromedia Flash, you know, the whole flash world where the internet was becoming more immersive and more interactive. And then I won awards, got my work noticed, and was picked up by a local uh, flash design firm. And they were all buddy buddy, and they're like, "Oh, welcome to the family, welcome to our team," and we're so like um, they were so upfront and so friendly, but there was a catch, and the catch was is that they basically had to own me, right? That's what writing that, sign your life, your waiver to the company. So anything extra or external would be considered a conflict of interest. And me, like I've already, because I've been doing a lot of my web work back in the day, I've already established these client relationships before I joined this company. And they didn't like that. It was like a it's weird. They think think that because they own me now, they also own the work that I do outside, and that I just felt that that was incorrect. That is not healthy at all. So anyway, but whatever. I did what I had to do at work during that time period as my job, and I was a student, by the way. I was still a student, so I was there as a summer job because I mean, yeah, I'm that good. I do I continue to do my web stuff. It was during my school time. I won awards, summertime, but at the same time, I was working on my other client stuff. So I tried my best to keep these worlds different. So, I would not conflict. There's not even a conflict of interest anywhere. Um. Anyway, long story short, um, one day I was called in to the principal office, well, basically the CEO's office, And I'll just be long story short. They told me to pack my bags and go home. They literally told me to pack my bags and go home. I walked in and there was like the staff wasn't in there. There were no one in there, and it was just me. And it was me, the VP and the CEO, and they just what used to be all buddy buddy, welcome to family. Now they just treat me like absolute crap, as if I was like I did something horribly wrong, and I was accused for conflict of interest because of I'm working on my other clients, which are I think my other clients were a lot higher status than the ones that they were working with. Anyway, so they let me go. In very, it was like a very bad experience for me because, they treated me like absolute crap, no respect whatsoever. Uh, so I still feel like like anyway. I took some time to digest and what had transpired, and I realized that this is actually quite common in corporate culture. And I realized because I've experienced this very toxic environment at an early stage in my career that in many sense I have to actually, in fact I have to thank them for giving me the early insight of how the system works. Everyone puts a facade, everyone's so damn fake, you know they there's a lot of politics, um and a lot of just sort of like fakery. Or just go to LinkedIn, you see how fake it is. LinkedIn's a joke, by the way. It's I only use LinkedIn just to, as if it was any other social media platform. But yeah, it's like LinkedIn. You look at what they do there. It's like taking it to a whole other level. Don't say it's just so much facade. I can see through that. Uh, so yeah, so you look at you hear about people like losing their jobs these days. They apply to look at LinkedIn or Indeed. Like, it's just like I'll tell you, I never got any opportunities on those platforms. Never. I only have LinkedIn. I never got. It was really about that entrepreneurial mindset because I've learned early how toxic these corporate cultures were, that it would take a lot of effort, a lot of convincing for me to join a team. And I would make sure that I have my terms met. And if they don't like that, well, boo, see you later. Because it is not worth my energy to get involved with their whatever they have to offer if that opportunity did come up. I digress a bit, but I have to thank them because I learned early that I don't want to go through that experience again, and I would rather divert that energy and that time and energy towards myself. I realized, as I mentioned, I thank them. I thank them because I'm still a student, and I single-handedly intimidated a company. I stroked their I stroked their ego. I don't know, or not. I bruised their ego. Me, student, single-handedly did that. So I realized I always think about the pivot, right? The 180, instead of looking at it as a moment of like, oh, like it sucked. Oh my god. But if you look at the other side of the spectrum, it's like, wow, it just shows that I do have what it takes to get out there in the world on my own terms. And that was around 2007, 2008. And that was around the time when I really started to push EEPMON. I was like, okay, that's it. I'm going full in, like full frontal with EEPMON, full force, because that was the cue. That was the indicator. That was it. Okay, um, if I was able to do that, can you imagine what I could do to the world? so, so yeah, so that's how I see it. And so when I read about the state of the economy and a lot of the jobs that are, job losses, and and then there's people doing these YouTube video reels saying that, oh, you can't trust them, they treat you like a number, you're just a cog in a company. Of course, holy moly, like it's not a it's not nothing new. And better you realize it now than never. But this system has always been like this. It has not changed. So as an artist, I get to set my own terms, but that also means that I have to do a lot of work. It's not like the work comes to me. I have to make sure that I have put my entrepreneurial cap on, marketing cap on. I have to do the work. I got to do the art, but I also have to engage, go out there into the world, reach out to new audiences. Not because I have to, because I want to, because I realize the potential and the capability that I possess. And I would I would absolutely um, take that calculated risk to do so. Of course, the first, second, third, even up to the fifth year, it's going to be tough. Trials and tribulations, trial and error. But every time I completed a year cycle in improving myself, better myself, engaging the world, still breathing, still alive, but I improve. I realize how I what I did, how I bettered myself, how I've gained the experience, matured in my craft, uh, and that in itself is worth more. It's priceless than how much you make at the end of the day, how much money you make. Um, for me, like everyone's telling me, oh, back then they're like, oh, you're, you don't, you part, it must be tough, and you don't, my where my peers, they're working for like the big companies, right? Typical Google, Meta, like Apple, making lots of money. So they can never really understood how I did things and why I do things, because I clearly could have been in that world there. I could have easily been in those design agencies and made like at least six figures, like big time, like easy. But that was too easy for me. That'd be like throwing in a towel. The real challenge is how to sustain yourself in your entrepreneurial path, believing what you do, passionate what you do, what keeps you up at night, what keeps you thriving. Because I still talk, so some of my peers who are still in these companies are quite jaded because they're not utilizing the full potential of their creativity. And yeah, um, I'm ranting at this point, but I thought I want to really express how I feel about the current state and why I feel that I am um like I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I am very prepared. I embrace and I totally wholeheartedly accept the volatility of this world, because never ever think that things are safe and things are stable and things are like, like, rosy, day in, day out. Never. Now, as soon as you feel that way, as soon as you feel stable and comfortable, that is when you need to get the F out, pivot, because nothing, I feel you should never feel certain, because as soon as you feel that way, you've gone complacent. You lose your motivation. Your passion becomes more about how much money you want to make versus really what is it for us creators. What is our purpose? What is our purpose? Right? Sure, making money is great, but if that overtakes your your the reason why you exist as an artist, why the reason why you create, then you might as well work for, like, I don't know, six figure or whatever design agency or whatever. But the true path, I think, as an artist is to really pursue and continue to pursue um, that path, uh, because nothing beats, how do I say, nothing beats, um, like it's a path. You grow and you learn more about your capabilities, your potential. You're reaching that the self actualization, reaching to that level of self actualization, and there's like probably like 100 levels after that. Like that is the magic, and if you can sustain yourself financially with that, that's like I think I think it is inevitable. It's bound to happen. So it's secondary, but the true path of the artist is paramount. Anyway, I thought I want to share that with you, give it on my chest, because this we are living in some very to trial times. The interesting times. Anyway, like and subscribe. Thank you very much. If you like more of this type of content, let me know. But I just want to be real with you all, and yeah, it is what it is. Talk soon. Bye bye.